Looking out at all of you today, I get that feeling like when I find ants invading my kitchen. Seriously, there are a frighteningly lot of you. And I can honestly say this has been an unbelievable year. Watching a democratic election where, for better or for worse, populism outvoiced corporate funding, standing with 750,000 people in LA to champion inclusion and human decency, and finishing up a dissertation that I started 8 years ago when the air was filled with this same feeling of genuine excitement, fear, and hope. This is a time of change, and the fields we've dedicated ourselves to are communities through which we will be defining reality for the generations that follow us, because what has been is proving itself more and more to be ill-equipped and unsustainable in this diverse, troubled, miraculous, and interwoven world, where we are the next tide of soon-to-be old people, determined to leave this place a little kinder, cleaner, more transparent, or more compact than it was when we as young people first really started noticing things in our world. Diverse, troubled, miraculous, interwoven. Now, having worked with many disciplines at UCSB, I can imagine how many different definitions are floating through your heads right now. The sociologists or the biologists, diverse. The historians or the psychologists, troubled. The linguists or the material scientists, interwoven. So let me expand on what I think about when I imagine the world that flows through this university. A world where we practice being leaders and catalysts for change. Our world. When I think diverse, I think about how many languages my roommates here have spoken. I remember coming home to my Israeli and Tunisian roommate, having that centuries-old conflict in our living room, and shaking hands at the end. I remember being washed over by 100 versions of what is that amazing smell coming out of tin pans at the Multicultural Center, and hearing 100 versions of Josh, You Must Dance Now, playing out of KCSB-Radio. I didn't used to know what Korean pop was. I never thought I'd be singing along to it. I still don't know what I was saying. And best of all, seeing 100 versions of Who Are You? Strangers making my day, walking down these bike paths or streets with clothes, hair, confidence, enthusiasm that left me perma-smiling. At some point, you stop fixating on checkboxes like ethnicity or gender, scales like BMI or how many hours a tattoo took. People are just beautiful when they feel free and safe walking with their hearts out. I've really enjoyed becoming part of this beauty here at UCSB. Running across campus barefoot to teach a class, following my wild interests into lectures on comics, human relations, environmental pollutants, drawing big cartoons of academic concepts for my students and peers. No one ever did anything but smile and encourage my passion. I got looks for wearing my zero-carbon footwear at Trader Joe's. Got lectured once at Costco, but never here. Yay for Costco. Our campus community isn't perfect, but it works hard to live and breathe inclusion. And the people that attracts, and the moments that creates, make my heart sing. Troubled. If there's one pattern I've learned in humans, it's that all of our best things come out of our most embarrassing mistakes and shortcomings. If society never fell into harmful common sense beliefs, a lot of my favorite quotes would not exist. Like when people ask Ruth Bader Ginsburg, when will there be enough women on the Supreme Court? And her answer is always, when there are 9. Or when public discourse about science compels Neil deGrasse Tyson to point out, the universe is under no obligation to make sense to you. These replies exist because good people rise up when things are too hard to take sitting down. And at this university, I have been dragged into action, talked into humility, slapped into awareness, and shaken into laughter by so many conscientiously driven people, from self-doubting grad students to very confident undergrads. From soft-spoken professors to ground-shaking protesters. From our funded lecturers to our pro bono homeless community, one of whom just held up a sign, smile. One of whom offered me cake out of a box. I didn't. I'm lactose intolerant. It looked like excellent cake. I've seen so many versions of your brilliance here, shining light onto shadows, making sure we hold ourselves accountable for all the marks we leave on this planet and on one another. I can't say I'm excited for our upcoming and ongoing mistakes, but I am looking forward to watching my favorite peers and students ignited by these troubles, becoming their warmest, brightest, best selves. Miraculous. As far as people go, I think I just covered that. But to make sure I hit all my bases, let me give a specific shout out to the introverts at this university. That's right, all the people who've spent quiet hours digging down into details of policy, psychology, chemistry, biology, who've discovered subtle truths in our world that they find interesting or beautiful and will share with anyone who's willing to listen, with that inexhaustible charity that only true hardcore nerds can muster around their specialties. I love that I have Facebook friends who post pictures of dirt with captions like soil crust, exclamation point. These people's inexhaustible attention to detail will be the thing that saves us as a species in our future's inevitable zombie, Sharknado, or other climate-related apocalypse. And I'm very serious about that. I've learned by experience it's always worth listening to the quiet ones. Interwoven. So finally, not to get too deep, the oneness of all things. Not just how research trends across many of our disciplines are bending toward mergers and mutual enlightenments. Not just how findings within our disciplines are pointing more and more toward the fluid and integrated nature of our world. Those inalienable links between mind and body, emotion and cognition. That thin illusion of race against a rich network of orientations and identities. Our ever-deepening ability to gaze out to space and into particles and touch more broadly pieces of reality that we do not yet understand. Not just these objective truths, but how we find ourselves, as always, conspicuously at the center of that taunting, fascinating unknown. As individuals, as a species, and as communities, finding for ourselves a way of belonging, among others, in that larger picture. Diverse, troubled, miraculous, interwoven. That's the world we're crashing into. Now, I have to admit, when I started grad school, I felt a little lost and a little fake, pursuing an advanced degree without a mature sense of my purpose or my place in this world. But grad school helped me to go deep and become part of something that I really care about, to join arms with and witness all of you. Well, those of you who came out sometime in the last 4 years, lighting up and nerding out about your own personal passions in this world. Robots, raccoon roundworms, religious temporality, immigration, intertextuality, intersexuality, autism, online security, electronic dance music, fly eyeballs. And to see myself getting excited about the social-emotional foundations of educational exchanges, my little corner for making some change. But back before I found that, I had this mantra that I repeated to myself when I took runs along Campus Point, watching the days end and the waves keep on cycling, before heading back home to do more work. Maybe it's similar to something you kept in mind when you needed to remember, oh right, I'm putting myself through this for a reason. I'll sleep tomorrow. Mine went like this. It seems there's twice as much sunlight when the wet sand throws it. That narrow shoreline mixes 8,000 times a day. Never really land, thicker than the sea. So am I the same, half solid, half tide. This is my world because it runs through me. We're all wearing colors today, linking us to one or another established discipline. But we're also shaping the way that cloth hangs on our shoulders, saying, this is the shore I've joined with, and this is the shore I am crashing into. It will never be the same. Through GSA, through Grad Slam, through countless food-baited lectures and events, I've met a lot of you. And heading out into this great, complex, undefined version of our world to come, I trust you as individuals and as a tide together. So let's do good things, all right? You people are weird, beautiful, heartful, and brilliant in 423 individual ways. I've seen it, and I've joined it, playing out across this campus in countless small experiments, laying groundwork and building momentum for 8,000 thoughtful, powerful ways of improving our world through labs and clinics, foundations and startups, classrooms and community centers, installations and broadcasts. Today, this is just the start of our tide. And there are a frighteningly lot of you. So here's to us, helping our world toward a little better version of itself.